Hey, this is Marcus Washington with latest episode of Salon Tobacco Road, everything ACC, and we want to look at Virginia. So much was made of Tony Bennett leaving, and where was this going to lead the program, and what was the defense going to look like, and what's the offense going to look like, and people drone on and on and on about the offense, and what we've seen out of Virginia's offense. They're 3-0, and it's there are some principles of mover blocker, but what you're seeing is it's starting to open up a bit. It does not mean they're going to look like Paul Westhead 7 seconds or less, but what you're seeing is the actions are different. Um, the flexibility is different. The spacing is different. We're seeing more ball actions. We are seeing the same amount of like pin downs and staggers, but the ball actions, along with being able to get your guy off the dribble a little bit because of the spacing, has added more spacing. So what have you seen out of Virginia? Obviously, in the win over Villanova, they made 14 threes. Get this, right now we're very early on. This is as of Monday, November 15th. Virginia was 8th in the nation in three-point shooting percentage at 44.62%. And it's not only necessarily the percentage itself, it's also the how. It's getting better looks. It's playing more free flowing. It's getting it more in the offense. It's having more possessions. It's all of those things that are contributing to this. And when you look at it, Isaac McNeely, a guy that you expect to have 68.8% of his field goal attempts are from three, and he's shooting 45.5%, including just absolutely undressing Villanova from the 3-point line. But then you look at someone like Jacob Kofi, the freshman from Seattle, and percentage of shots at the rim, 53.8%. Percentage of shots from the three, 30.8%. So you're looking at about 84% is either layup, three-pointer. And now we're starting to see a little bit more modern basketball because of those splits. It's also having those type of guys that can do that. Day Ames, not necessarily a three-point shooter, but when you saw in the Villanova game, Sanchez playing Ames and Rhodey together as opposed to Ames coming off the bench and Rhodey playing point. I still think that Rhodey looks a lot more comfortable off the ball. But when they're playing together, because Day can orchestrate the offense, the shots are there. Because he's grabbing ground on the bounce, the spacing is there. All of those things that have allowed these guys to open up and play a little bit more free, play in more space. And that's what I've said before. If you've watched anything or you've read anything that I have written about Virginia, it is they don't have to throw everything out. There are ways within the philosophy that Bennett was doing. There are ways to open things up and create more freedom, create more space, and you don't have to just throw the offense out and say, hey, let me put in this whole new offense. It was never necessary. And what you've seen Sanchez do is you've seen those things. So it's been a little bit freer, and I think the players have felt a little bit more comfortable with some of the changes, just beyond saying, hey, we're doing things different. Hey, we have more freedom. That doesn't always equate to being better. But because this is within somewhat of the framework, you just took the framework, you kind of expanded it out, and you put these new these additional, not even new, these additional actions and philosophies within that construct, and you get what you get, and you get Virginia right now being 3-0. Now look, schedule gets tough. Neutral court game out in the Bahamas against Tennessee. That's on Thursday the 21st, and then they will either play Baylor or St. John's on the 22nd. Secretly, I'm hoping it's St. John's because I want to see that matchup. But as you can see, Virginia is doing these things that people have complained about them not doing for years. Up next on So Long Tobacco Road, Elliot Cadeau, now an offensive threat. We'll talk about it.